to people from getting an attorney. If I can't get you more, even after our fee, then you owe us nothing, not even our costs. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12670. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2. This hour brought to you by... Now, Hunt Palmer. Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. A lot of kiddos going to school today. Saw a bunch of that on my Instagram. Myers man's 17 months old. He goes to school every day no matter what. But I think looks like school's kind of cranking up early August. And obviously we know football season's here. I guess back to school time as well. So kiddos, good first day of school. Casey Gaines, Jacob Beck here on the ones and twos. We got a ton to get to over the next couple of hours. Apparently a huge melee out at LSU football practice. Preston Guy is going to join us. He covers the Tigers for Tiger Bait. He's going to be with us in 15 minutes to talk about that and a lot of other things. LSU had a recruiting win over the weekend that we'll get to. John Brady, former LSU basketball coach, is going to join us at 2 o'clock. I want to talk about a few things with Coach Brady. One, LSU is out in the Bahamas right now playing 3 games starting today. So I want to talk to him briefly about that. He's got a new role at Baton Rouge Community College we're going to talk to him about. And I just kind of want to get Coach Brady's thoughts on the state of college basketball and the portal and the way rosters are put together and kind of how things have evolved. So I always enjoy catching up with Coach Brady. We'll do that coming up at 2 o'clock. We'll also meet the freshmen in the second hour, as we always do. Ryan Yates and Trey Holly on the list today. So plenty to get to. We start with the black and gold, as they had a visitor in town this weekend. And it's interesting because it's a big name, but does it make sense? That visitor is Kareem Hunt. Of course, you know Kareem Hunt from his productive NFL career. Started in Kansas City, where as a rookie he ran for 1,300 yards, then 824 yards. He moved on to Cleveland, and he was kind of their go-to back there for a brief moment, and that role kind of faded, and he didn't have a great year last year, just 3.8 yards per carry, his lowest of his career. But the Saints are kicking the tires on Kareem Hunt because they need bodies at running back. Pretty simple. You know now that Alvin Kamara is not going to be there for the first 3 games. He's been suspended. Don't expect any kind of appeal. I think that's pretty much set in stone. 3 games, okay. And you had an injury over the weekend. Benjamin ruptured his Achilles, so he'll be done. So right now you're looking up, and yes, you did supplement that position in the offseason. You got Jamal Williams. That's a good start. You go into the draft, and you get Kendre Miller. So, okay, you've got a couple of guys there, and Kamara's going to be back in week 3, but that's not enough to start the season, like 2 healthy guys. So they've got to find a way, whether it's free agents, what they've got to work with in practice right now, or going to get a veteran free agent, which Kareem Hunt would qualify. I think this is just fine. The Saints have some money to spend, and they have a need. If you were signing Kareem Hunt to be your go-to back, well, that's probably not a great investment. If you're signing Kareem Hunt to be a third down back, a third running back until Kamara comes back, I think that's just fine. Again, there are no details of any contract that's pending that we can check the financials on or anything. I'm just talking about strictly from a football fit. I think this works. Kareem Hunt has been in the NFL for better than half a decade. Kareem Hunt can pass protect. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run the football. He's not what he was in 2017 when he was a rookie. He's not in his early 20s anymore. He's knocking on 30's door. He's going to be 28 this year. But I think this would be a fine signing. He, again, career low in yards per carry last year, 3.8. But he did catch the football 35 times for 6 yards a carry. And he's proven he can do that throughout his career. Talking about a guy, 53 catches as a rookie, another 50-plus catch season in 2020. He had 30 catches in 2019. He's a versatile back that knows this, that understands what being a pro is about, and I think would be a nice fit. Now, I'd much rather give the ball to Jamal Williams than Kareem Hunt. I'd much rather give the ball to Kendre Miller than Kareem Hunt. And I don't even know what Kendre Miller is. He's practiced for a week and a half. But if you're just looking to add depth, I'm fine with Kareem Hunt. Essentially, Kareem Hunt is not filling in for Alvin Kamara if they sign him. Kareem Hunt is filling in for Eno Benjamin if they sign him. And that makes plenty of sense to me. So I would support this move. I don't think it's one that's going to drastically alter the course of your season if you're the New Orleans Saints. I think it's one that makes your roster a little bit better. And so I would support them grabbing him and seeing what he could do in the first month of the season. And guess what? Not going to cost you much. If he comes into work and you go, man, this guy's just lost it, just cut him. No big deal. So that's one angle of the potential roster shakeup down in New Orleans. The other is a cool story for those of us here in Baton Rouge that pay attention to LSU. The Saints signed Jontre Kirkland over the weekend, and I think that's awesome. The Saints are always looking at potential guys that can be really good special teamers for them. They've had Pro Bowlers that just played special teams. And I think that's kind of where Jontre Kirkland fits in. Yes, they're working him out at wide receiver. And we saw him obviously play a lot of wide receiver here in Baton Rouge. But he would also be able to help you on special teams. Jontre Kirkland will do anything for his team. You know where I'm going, right? You know the story. Well, Max Johnson left. TJ Finley's gone. And Garrett Nussmeier's not going to burn his red shirt. Well, we don't have any quarterbacks. Jontre, go take some snaps for a month. Get out there against Kansas State. All right. Where's the ball? That was a miserable football game to sit through as an LSU fan doing the postgame show, the whole thing. It was unentertaining. It was not competitive. It was not aesthetically pleasing. But you still have to tip your cap to a guy who had been in college for 5 years, had done nothing but play defensive back and wide receiver, and they said, hey, we need you to go play quarterback like you did in high school 5 years ago in a bowl game. And he did it. And at this point, if you're Jontre Kirkland, you know that kind of your ticket to the NFL is on your athleticism and ability to be versatile and help play some special teams. He's a ridiculous athlete. He had a 42-inch vertical at the combine, 11-foot 6-inch broad jump. I mean, crazy athlete, but didn't have a true position. But he went out and played for the XFL's Houston Roughnecks last year. Had a solid go of it. I can't claim I watched any of the Roughnecks last year, but by all accounts, he did well. And the Saints are knocking on that door because Andrew Dowell's lost for the season with a torn ACL. And you've got Dwayne Washington, JT Gray. Like, you've got some guys that are penciled in as special teamers, but I think that Jontre Kirkland would have an opportunity there. The Saints have a lot of wide receivers, especially at the top end. But it would be really cool if Jontre Kirkland can find a way to make the team and make an impact. If you're Jontre, you know that that's your shot. It's like to be a Swiss Army knife. And I think that's what they're going to bring him in to do. So he's been signed. He'll be out there working out. Hopefully it works out for Jontre because he was a heck of a team guy here in Baton Rouge. And obviously the end of his career was so odd. Does anybody remember the last play of that Texas Bowl? I think about that a lot. Kirkland just wound up and threw a 50-yard bomb to Chris Hilton for a touchdown on the last play of that game. I think most of you, if you have your good senses about you, had turned the TV off by that point because it was a disastrous football game to watch. But if you did have them on, or you had to do the post-game show like me, you just wound up and threw you just don't see that a lot. A team that's down by 40 points throwing a bomb on the last play of the game for a touchdown. But that was his last college play. And so he will have an opportunity to maybe play a little bit more football with the New Orleans Saints. Jontre Kirkland has been signed by New Orleans. So that's a kind of a Saints dual purpose report there to start the show off as they continue to work out down there in Metairie as of today. I heard some sound from Dennis Allen earlier today, and I think David Carr met with the media day. So some more news coming out of Saints camp. We'll certainly talk to Sharif about it coming up tomorrow, and we'll get to Luke coming up on Thursday and continue to get you your Saints information each and every day as they wind through camp. As I mentioned at the top of the show here, I'm going to do a little recruiting at the end of this hour. John Brady with us 45 minutes from right now, talking a little bit of basketball. We'll meet the freshmen. So plenty to do here on a Monday. When we come back, we're going to hit about 30 minutes worth of some LSU football content. The Tigers are out on the practice field on Saturday. I took a day yesterday, and they're back at it today. And there were some fireworks out at practice today. There was well, not allegedly, everyone was there. It was a big fight that involved a couple of players getting kicked out of practice. There was some other content that we'll get to as well as we move forward here on this Monday show. Hope your work week is off to a good start. We'll chat with Preston Guy of TigerBait.com coming up next. It's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We know it's storm season. The power going out, not fun. You can avoid it. Boudreaux's Electric can help you do it. Boudreaux's Electric has been family owned and operated by Neil and Melissa Boudreaux for 40 years. They are a certified Generac dealer. And not just that, they're a premier Generac dealer. That means they're in the top 3% of Generac dealers in the country. It's just part of our existence down here is having hurricanes and storms. And even afternoon showers that'll knock out the power. Have your home protected. You can keep your security system running while you're away. If you're vacated for a hurricane, keep your fridge running so everything in the freezer, so everything doesn't spoil when you get home. And one of the cool things about Boudreaux's Electric, they've got a 24-hour monitoring system on your generators at home. If it fails at some point, whether it's during a storm or not, just in the course of a general day, they will know about it. They can send a technician out to fix it right there so that when that storm comes, you're up and running. Boudreaux's Electric, every generator comes with a free 10-year warranty. You can call them at the same phone number they have had for 40 years. 985-397-1562. It is Boudreaux's Electric.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got
Tuesday's OTB will bring you the latest from both the Saints and Tigers training camp, and Nick Underhill stopping by to give you all the black and gold inside info. And a brand new OTB mailbag. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Brian Kelly a little cranky today with his football squad as they got into a pretty sizable melee, we're told, during practice today. Offense and defense getting into it. 60 or so people involved, punches being thrown, ejections from practice. It happens this time of year. It's a lot of testosterone, a lot of collisions, and just sometimes emotions spill over just a touch. But Brian Kelly was not happy about it nonetheless. So let's talk some football with Preston Guy, covers the Tigers for Tiger Bait. Preston, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. A lot of excitement this morning coming from the football team.
Where do you stand on it? Do you care? Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Obviously, Brian Kelly wasn't too thrilled with it.
As long as the story exists of Joe Burrow getting in a fight with Devin White, I'm good with it. There's roles guys play on the team, and you mean to tell me your middle linebacker is, testosterone-filled, aggressive male, getting chippy with other aggressive males in 110-degree weather? You color me shocked, And yes, I hear what Brian Kelly is saying. He's not happy about it. Your head football coach shouldn't be happy about it. What's he supposed to say? Good job, guys, knocking each other out. This is a constructive way to build a football team. No, you want him, being stern and swift to handle these things and get them ironed out so you can, have an organized football team. It doesn't bother me at all.
Has there been a big takeaway of yours after a week of LSU camp, something on either side of the ball that's kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, what stood out to me is the offense appears to have the upper hand. I was talking to Mike Scarborough, our site owner, about it, who was out there today. I was like, man, offense seems to really have the upper hand so far based off everything I've seen. His rebuttal was, yeah, but they just got in shells today. They're not in full pads. The pass rush can't really impact the game yet. So I am looking forward to see if that is, more of a result of, it being so much veteran experience returning on that offensive side of the ball, and they really do have the upper hand, or if it's just that the defense can't really play full football right now.
You think that Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC?
Preseason, he definitely is. On paper, we'll see, man. It's like you always have a guy come out of nowhere and turn out to be a pretty darn strong quarterback. So we'll see about that. The Ole Miss guy is someone I've got an eye out, even though he's transferring from Oklahoma State. Keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, Spencer Sanders is going to be interesting. Jackson Dart, Walker Howard up there. That's it's a crowded room, as they say up there in Oxford. Speaking of crowded rooms, LSU's running back room is that. How do you expect that to be handled as they enter the season?
Hopefully, very well. But you've got 7 guys now. John Emery is indeed back. I wasn't relying on him being back just because it's been so inconsistent over the years, but he's back. Trey Bradford is back. They actually named him Freak of the Week the other day, so that's a lot of depth. And, of course, the 2 freshmen you're adding in. Will Omani Goodwin finally have a season where he stays healthy? You've got a lot of guys you're talking about, and you only need 4. You look at that's the magic number for Brian Kelly in a running back room. He uses 4 guys, 40 or more carries every single year. So as long as you've got 4 guys able to give you good SEC carries, you're in good shape, and you've got 7 guys who might be able to do that. So I really like where they stand. Logan Diggs is a guy from Notre Dame Brian Kelly's familiar with. He looks like he has the advantage of being the first running back. We shall see. I would like to see a little bit more top-end type talent. There's no Fournette or Geis on this roster, which I think LSU fans have grown accustomed to over the years. But you do have a lot of really good players.
Who do you think is going to lead him in rushing from a running back perspective?
Diggs. Probably Diggs, but we'll see. It'll be close. Williams is going to be right there, Josh Williams, because he's such a good blocking back and so reliable, good out of the backfield. I don't necessarily believe there's going to be a 1,000-yard rusher on this team because they're going to rotate them so much. You've got so many good players. Do what you did in 2011. Keep them all fresh. Rotate them all out. A fresh guy who's, 80% as good as the best player. Well, if he's fresh, and the other guys had 30 carries, he's probably better at that point. So keep rotating them out. I think you're going to see a lot of guys, in the, 300 to 800-yard mark this year.
Last year, as a quarterback, Jaden Daniels ran for 885 yards. Do you think he runs for fewer than that or more than that this year?
Well, you have to think that goes down, right? I mean, a lot of that was out of necessity with the offensive line having its struggles and Jaden Daniels having trouble working through his reads. He got a little happy feet, and a lot of times he's such an athlete, he just bailed him out. I would think he's still a runner, and you're still going to use him as a runner. The other thing was last year you did a lot of design runs because you didn't have the running back depth you wanted. So you had to use Jaden Daniels to supplement that. 600 yards or so on the ground, and I think passing yards we could see maybe 3,500 or so. So a good 4,000-yard season is what I would expect.
Chatting with Preston Guy from TigerBait.com, covers the Tigers for TigerBait over there. Defensively, who's the best corner on the roster?
Boy, I don't know. A lot of people were buzzing about J.K. Johnson before he he's on a scooter today.
Yep.
So we don't know when we're going to see him back, but he was looking really good in practice. I'm going to go maybe Zy Alexander, the transfer out of Southeastern. I've heard nothing but good things out of him, but there's a lot of other players who could fill in that role. That's going to be like running back. There's a lot of good players, and it's a tight competition.
You think Javian Toviano plays a bunch this year?
Yeah, somewhere. He's at safety right now, and safety, there's less depth in corner, so you figure there'll be opportunities. I am curious to see if they play him at nickelback to get him out there, or if the depth at corner is just too overwhelming and he has to stick to a pure safety spot.
What about Sage Ryan?
Is this the year?
Yeah.
Is this the year he turns it up? He will be on the second team safety, and it'll be interesting to see, does he go in or does Taviano go in first if there's an injury? I tend to think Sage Ryan will play the strong. If the strong goes down, that's Greg Brooks. Sage will go in. If the free goes down, Taviano will go in. We'll see. It just depends on how interchangeable they feel those guys are. I do know that this is his make or break season, because he thus far he has not played up to his 5-star billing, and it's going to be interesting to see if he turns it up and plays like he was recruited.
Do they have enough pass rush?
Interior, they got some of the best pass rush in the country. You got Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo. Talk about two dudes in the middle. We'll see on the outside. Again, it's another one of those spots where they've hit that transfer portal so well that you've got a lot of good players. I don't know that defensive end you have that guy, all-American pass rusher. But you have Harold Perkins, who is going to supplement that on the outside. I know they're playing him at middle linebacker. They're going to find a way to get him after the quarterback. So anytime you have a really good interior pass rush, that really frees up your backers. I mean, because you have to double team a guy like Mason Smith. Interior pass rushing, man, it's just it opens up so much for your defense.
It seems like there's a little bit of buzz around Omar Spates and what he's going to add to the middle of the defense. Where do you land on the Oregon State transfer?
Well, you added a guy with 100+ tackles, and Power 5 football. A guy who had almost no missed tackles last year. If you are in the box with Omar Spates, you're going to the ground. The big issue with him, the knock on him, was his pass coverage. So we'll see how he evolves in pass coverage, or perhaps maybe they put him in more situations where he can handle the pass coverage better. We'll see, but that's one of the best transfers you could pick up for that linebacker spot, especially after DeMario Tolan hit the portal and went to Auburn.
The last guy I want to talk about, and then we'll get to some big picture stuff here, is Aaron Anderson, the transfer from Alabama. We've seen some video of him. LSU football put a video out over the weekend of him taking a little slip screen and moving around. I saw him last week, and he had a sleeve on his knee, but looks pretty healthy to me. What have been your impressions, and what role does Aaron Anderson have on this team?
Glad you brought up that video. I also saw that video, and so I filmed Aaron Anderson in high school for Edna Carr, and I remember thinking, that looks familiar. He did the same exact thing for Edna Carr. He'd just take a little bubble screen, make a guy or two miss, and boom, he's up the seam, man. It is good to see him looking not just good in playing, but looking very healthy, because there were some question marks as to would he come back 100%. You really want to see him returning kicks. He is an outstanding kick returner. So I would love to see him able to field those kicks and drastically upgrade that position. I don't think that position, I've never seen it that bad at LSU as it was last year. I mean, you literally got to the point where fans were applauding a fair catch. So hopefully that can not only be not a liability to turn over the ball, but a threat for coverage teams this year with Aaron Anderson. And also, I do think the top 3 receiver spots are pretty much locked down. You got Neighbors, you got Thomas, and you got Kyron Lacey. They seem to be pretty entrenched. I do think that 4th receiver spot is going to be something that's up for grabs. Does Aaron Anderson take that spot? We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. We kind of tap danced around the entire roster there, and I wanted to lead it to this question where Brian Kelly was asked a couple of weeks ago, how close are you to building a championship-level roster? And he said, we probably need one more year. That kind of surprised me to hear that, but guys got some pretty good job security. What did you make of that comment, and where do you think they are as a program right now?
I think it's a lot of coach speak. A lot of me went back and forth with that. Maybe he sees holes we don't. I look at this roster, and I think that this is one that's pretty close to competing for a championship. We saw the coaches poll. They came out and were number 5. That's even higher than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be number 7. But, we saw since media days that the media teams, coaches, they're throwing a lot of flowers at LSU's feet. They saw how many guys were all SEC. They saw, Jaden Daniels is the consensus best quarterback in the conference preseason. LSU's getting a lot of respect, and I tend to believe that because this is the coaches poll, and the coaches are obviously looking at LSU's roster and they're putting them that high, I think that just kind of further solidifies my opinion that it was indeed coach speak. I think he's just trying to, be anti-rat poison.
One more big picture, I'll leave it open-ended for you. Is there anything that you're looking for over the next 3 weeks as far as practice and scrimmages and media availability? Is there anything that any part of the roster, any player you're specifically paying attention to?
You know who I'd really like to see get involved with this offense is Caleb Jackson. He is a track speed star, and when you see him on the field, it's hard not to be physically impressed. Now, numbers on paper, they don't jump out at you. He's going to be 5'10", he's 205. That sounds run-of-the-mill. He doesn't have an inch of fat on his body. Can he break into that talented lineup? I don't know. I'll tell you who else I'm looking for. Here's an interesting one. Lance Hurd. And it seems like to me if the plan was to not have him find a way into this starting offense, they would just plug him as the backup left tackle, let him practice at his natural position, and that's that. In practice, he's been playing right tackle. Why is he playing right tackle instead of left tackle if the plan is to just have him be the backup? I suspect that they're keeping an eye on him to see if they can work him into a starting tackle position, because it would be less likely that Will Campbell somehow gets shuffled around. I think he's pretty entrenched as a left tackle. It would be more likely to see you shuffle Emory Jones, who was recruited as an interior offensive lineman. It'd be more natural for him to slide inside somewhere. So we'll see. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I'm keeping an eye out on it.
He's Preston Guy, TigerBait.com for all your LSU football practice updates. He and Mike Scar are doing an awesome job over there. So, Preston, we appreciate some time, man.
Hey, thanks. Always nice to talk to you, on.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. A couple interesting points there, and I want to spend some time just talking about the offense in general, so we'll do that coming up next.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Cancer sucks. It affects all of us. It just does. But there's a lot of time and a lot of money being invested to make sure that that doesn't happen forever. And we're so lucky here in this part of the world that Ochsner Health and MD Anderson Cancer Center have partnered to create Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. It's a collaboration that's going to put patients in their region to have access to cancer treatments that are among the most advanced in the nation. Ochsner is the first and only provider in Louisiana that's got a fully integrated cancer program based on MD Anderson's practice standards and treatment plans. Physicians here are going to have direct access to MD Anderson specialists and their researchers, and they're going to offer access to select clinical trials to eligible patients right here in Louisiana. There's going to be expert care in 7 different locations across New Orleans, St. Tammany Parish, as well as Baton Rouge. Ochsner and MD Anderson are going to work together to certify additional sites in the future, which is just fantastic news for those of us here in the state of Louisiana. If you'd like to learn more about Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center, visit ochsner.org. That is ochsner.org.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's.
Charles Hannigriff. Join us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City. LSU and the Saints back on the practice field, and Andy Isco joins the show. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LSU had a nice recruiting weekend over the weekend. We'll talk about that coming up in 10 minutes. But I want to spend a little bit of time on this LSU offense. I did not go to practice today. Excuse me. We had meetings this morning, and I didn't get a chance to go out to watch practice. Matt Moscona did go, and he'll probably say something along these lines on his show coming up at 3 o'clock. But I have been to practice, and certainly I'm in the halls here with Matt and Hanny have been to practice. I'm on the On3 message board with Shay and Matthew Bruni who have been there. Like even though I've missed a couple, I've been exposed to what's going on pretty significantly. And one of the overwhelming themes to this point that has been evident to the media that have attended is that this offense is roasting this defense. They're weakened. I'm not here to create massive narratives here, but you take that bit of information that the offense is really humming, it's really being successful. And then you start to think about the fact that, well, you got a couple of guys that were good enough as freshmen to play tackle in the SEC and hold their own. And they're back for another year. You've got a center who's in his 400th college season. You've got a quarterback that's in his 400th college season that is the preseason all-SEC quarterback. You've got Malik Neighbors, who is one of the best receivers in the country. You got a productive Brian Thomas coming back, and Kyron Lacey's had a good go, and you've got some more real talent beyond that with Aaron Anderson, Shelton Sampson. You've got a returning tight end who made one of the plays of your year last year. Like, this offense should be really good. And I've asked some of the members of the 2019 defense, whether they come in here, we interview on the air, or whatever, like, were y'all getting smoked in camp? And the answer's like, not really. Like, they were good. And, of course, Chase and Jefferson and Marshall and Clyde and Joe, and, like, they moved the ball, but, like, we held our own. And that makes sense, too, because that was a really good defense. Stingley and Fulton start in the NFL. Delpit's an NFL starter. Phillips is an NFL starter. Queen's an NFL starter. Calebon's a first-round pick. Like, it was a really good defense that played really well. I think the thing that sticks out in our mind with that defense is, oh, man, Vanderbilt scored a lot of points. Whoa, they couldn't tackle John Rice Plumlee. But you look at what they did to A&M, what they did to Georgia, what they did to Oklahoma, what they did to Clemson. Like, they played good defense. And I think this LSU defense has got a chance to play some good defense. And I'm not trying to compare this LSU offense to 19, but I do think LSU is going to have one of the best offenses in college football this year. You've got continuity, you've got talent, you've got experience, you've got depth. Like, the only piece to this puzzle that I would look at LSU's offense and go, not quite what you'd want at college, is the talent level at running back. I would rather have really any of those pros over the last 25 years than the depth of this room. I mean, you can go all the way back to Falk, Dominic Davis, and it was Justin Vincent, but Brandon Tofield, Allie Broussard, and you had Hester and Charles Scott and Keelan Williams. You had Leonard Fournette, Jeremy Hill, Darius Geis, Clyde. Like, Alfred Blue was a pro for a while. I don't look at LSU's running back room right now and go, it's hard for me to find the pro. It's hard for me to find the 4-year NFL guy in that room. In fact, if you made me try to find a 4-year NFL pro in LSU's running back room, it'd probably be Caleb Jackson, and he's a freshman. I don't know how much he's going to play. And I'm just betting on the upside there. Emory, I don't see it. Josh Williams, I don't know if I see it. Diggs, maybe. He looked a little bit smaller than I thought he was going to look when I saw him, but he fit in Notre Dame, looked good. He was productive. But do I think he's a third-round pick that plays 5 years? No. Like, that's the only thing. But they've got a lot of guys, and they should block pretty well. They should spread the field pretty well. Jaden Daniels is a threat with his legs, so you got to worry about that in the run game. So they ought to be able to run the ball pretty well. I'm not suggesting, they don't know. They're not going to run the ball. They don't have a pro running back that can't run it. That's not what I'm saying. That's just like the only missing piece. You've got an uber productive quarterback, big time talent and depth at wide receiver, returning experienced offensive line. Like, Every piece you could want is there. And that's why I'm not terrified that it sounds like the offense is cooking the defense. Now, I'm sure Matt House may be singing a different tune. He's probably furious about what's going on at practice. And maybe Brian Kelly feels differently. I don't know. But you always fight that battle when you're watching a team scrimmage itself. It's like when I go out to baseball and watch them in the fall. It's like, oh, man, we hit 5 home runs today. That offense is really swinging the bats, and then you have to flip it on the other side and go, yeah, but the pitchers suck. Same thing if you strike out 16 guys in a practice, you're like, man, that guy's going to be a really good pitcher. And then on the flip side, you have to go, well, wait a second, they can't hit. And in this vein, you could frame it two ways. Like, man, this LSU offense is going to be awesome. Or you could say, well, this defense is in big trouble. And I just lean towards this offense looks really good. And it's not like when you put in the twos, you've got like a massive issue of talent. You got Garrett Nussmeier going in there with Chris Hilton and and Aaron Anderson handing the ball off to Diggs or Emery. Like, I mean, that's pretty talented stuff. So I still think the defense is okay. I like what they are in the interior. I think they've got some real talent at linebacker. The secondary's got to work itself out, and that's probably the biggest concern right now is you've got an overhauled secondary that's got so many new faces and so many new names, and they're from Syracuse, and they're from Southeastern, and they're from high school. Like it's just a lot of different guys that you're whisking in the secondary, and maybe right now they're taking their significant lumps. But the more I read, the more I hear, the more I see on tape, the more I think, man, this LSU offense could really come out of the chute humming. And I think they're going to need to, because it will surprise me a little bit if LSU's defense goes out there and holds Florida State to 14 points. Like I hope that happens. I don't think they're going to do that to Jordan Travis. I think LSU's going to have to go score in the opener. Frankly, if I could, I would flip the Grambling game and the Florida State game, and I'd play Grambling first, and then I'd go to play Florida State. We don't get that luxury. Florida State got that last year. LSU doesn't get it. You got to go out there and play, and I think the offense is going to go out there. I think they're going to play really, really well. I'm getting that sense early in camp. Now, as Preston said in the interview that we just did with him, his boss Mike Scarborough made a good point. It's like the defense doesn't have as good a shot when nobody's got pads on, and they can't be physical and shut things down. When you're out there just in helmets, the offense has got a massive advantage, and that's true. So maybe things shift over the next couple of weeks. But from what we're hearing, this is as good as an offense has looked and as bad as a defense has looked in the course of practice in quite some time. And again, the year that you would go back to see if that would happen would have been 19, and I'm told that it didn't. The defense held its own in that camp. And the defense may hold its own in this camp, and we may be overreacting to 3 days. But what else do we have to do in early August? We can overreact. That's why we're here. So the offense looks very, very good, and that is very, very exciting. We got a lot to get to in hour number 2. We're going to start with John Brady, former LSU basketball coach, member of the LSU Sports Radio Network. I want to chat with John about what the team can get out of a little week in Paradise. They're down there at Atlantis. They're going to play in the Bahamas 3 games. Want to get his thoughts on his new role at Baton Rouge Community College, as well as the state of college basketball as we move forward with the transfer portal and putting rosters together year over year and program building, and how he would handle all that. I always enjoy talking to Coach Brady, so we'll do that coming up in a little bit over 15 minutes. We'll meet the freshmen in hour number 2 as well. So plenty to get to here on this Monday. When we come back, really nice recruiting weekend for LSU over the weekend. They secure a commitment and a little bit of an update on where things are headed in the next 3 days. So we'll talk about all that coming up next.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR presented by Relief Windows. LSU back on the practice field, and we'll speak to the players for the first time this fall camp. We'll let you know what they said. Join us Monday 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LSU kind of kept it rolling on the recruiting trail over the weekend. Got a commitment from four-star wide receiver Jelani Watkins. And I immediately pulled up his profile, and I saw he was four-star. Well, that's good. It's a good place to start. And I said, 5'10", 165. So 165. Well, how are you a four-star at 5'10", 165? Well, then you read the article and you figure out how. He's one of the fastest players literally in the country. He's a two-time state champion in the 200 meters. He's run some sub-10.5 hundreds, even though that's not his primary event. He anchored the 4x100 relay team at his high school that won 6A. pretty good. They ran the 4x100 in 40:01. His best time in the 100 is 10.27. This is a burner. And so much so that he's also going to run track at LSU. This is a fun commitment. I like fast guys. Fast guys are fun. And I don't know how well he runs routes, and I don't know how well he catches the ball. And, we'll see when Jelani's time in Baton Rouge begins. But I know he can run. And that is very, very fun. Didn't mean to rhyme there, but it happens. So Watkins comes in to LSU's class as the most recent commitment to a class that's getting up there in numbers. They're up to 23 commitments, and at one time, you'd say, man, this class is about done. But at this point, you don't have this 25 scholarship limitation. You're just allowed to take guys until you got 85 guys on scholarship. So LSU will continue to add where they see fit, and the hope is that in 3 days' time, they add 2 more high school players to this class. This is going to be the story of the week as far as LSU football goes, unless there's a bunch more fights out of practice. This week, we will get commitments from Caden Durham, a 4-star running back, and from Colin Simmons, the 5-star edge rusher, both from Duncanville, south of Dallas in Texas. Duncanville Duo is what I'm calling it. It's real creative. You can use that if you'd like. Everyone seems to believe that Caden Durham, the running back, is headed to LSU. He seems to always have LSU clothes on, got a lot of social media presence talking about Go Tigers, this and that. Good buddies with Colin Simmons, who's played it a little bit more closely to the vest. And it's been funny now that I'm on 3 and I'm able to access that kind of stuff, and you see the tidbits that Shay and Billy put out, and you understand kind of the way that recruitments work, and you learn who the players are and what they're doing and where they've been and all that kind of stuff. But I've been interested that everybody who covers recruiting for LSU believes that LSU is going to get both. They believe they're going to get Caden Durham. They believe they're going to get Colin Simmons. And everybody who does recruiting for Texas, Jerry Hamilton being the guy for On 3, believes he's going to Texas. And look, I don't pretend to get deep in the weeds on recruiting. That's not my neck of the wood. That's not my corner of the store. That's not my block. However you want it, whatever cliche you want to toss on that, that's not where I spend a lot of my time. But you understand that those people that do work in recruiting cultivate relationships so that they can break news and study trends and whatnot. And you feel like whether it's Jerry Hamilton over at Texas or Shay and Billy and Matthew over at On 3 or whoever you may follow for recruiting, like they've got relationships with people inside the football office and inside the football program. And it feels like both football programs feel like they're going to get Colin Simmons. And we'll talk about this when the commitment breaks later this week. But it feels like Colin Simmons' recruitment is going to drag until the ink's dry. It's going to be one of those. Like maybe pulls the trigger here in August and sticks with it. Maybe pulls the trigger in August and then makes a different decision down the road. Neither one of these two staffs, Texas nor LSU, is going to see that commitment to the other school and go, good try. He will get the full court press all the way through. You're talking about a top 5 player in the country. Like they're going to do everything they can to make it happen. So I'll probably be a little reserved in my reaction to the Simmons commitment, but it just, you get the sense if you really feel like LSU's got Durham and both guys, the same high school, decided to announce on the same day, there's a real chance they could go to the same place. You never know in recruiting. It's just a wild, wild west. Sometimes I just have to tip my cap to those who spend their careers in it because it can get real messy and real complicated. You're dealing with young people who are making big decisions. And at this point now you're dealing with a lot of money being tossed around. It's a lot. But it's going to be a big week for LSU in recruiting. So, as I mentioned, LSU secures a commitment from Jelani Watkins, a 4-star wide receiver from Klein Forest High School in Houston. They'll hope to dip deeper into Texas coming up later this week with Colin Simmons and Caden Durham. So that's your recruiting hit for the end of hour number 1. It's been a busy hour. If you missed any, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab. You can always find us on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, on Google. Wherever you find your podcast, you can find our audio each and every day. And I want to tell you about YouTube as well. All of our full shows are archived on YouTube each and every day. So if you miss our show, you can go to YouTube and check it out. We also invite you to subscribe to a couple of channels that we've got on YouTube. Hunt on LSU is going to be all LSU football all the time. If you subscribe to Hunt on LSU, you're going to get our 10-minute videos, segments, just right to your fingertips. That's your channel if you subscribe to that. On the Saints side of things, it's Hunt on Saints. I opened the show today talking about the New Orleans Saints, talking about Kareem Hunt's visit, talking about John Trey Kirkland signing. If you want our Saints content, Hunt on Saints is where you can find that. We really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel and get your Saints info as they continue to work out down there in Metairie. We appreciate Preston Guy for coming on at 1:15 today. Preston's from Tiger Bait. We pretty much went over the entire roster almost, position by position. He's kind of talking about what Preston and the folks over at Tiger Bait have seen over the first week of LSU's fall camp. And then I touched on the offense a little bit at 1:30. If you missed it, the news of the day for LSU, basically there was just a big fight at practice, and you saw Malik Neighbors get kicked out, and you saw a bunch of other people that were involved, and it was not Brian Kelly's favorite portion of the practice. So Matt Moscona was there. He'll talk to you about it coming up on After Further Review. We're going to take a timeout for some Sports Center. Coach John Brady is going to be with us coming up here in 5 minutes, talk a little hoops with Coach Brady, and then we'll meet the freshmen at 2:15, Ryan Yates and Trey Holly today. So come back with us after Sports Center. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Saints, in need of running back depth, will host free agent Kareem Hunt tomorrow, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Starter Alvin Kamara's suspended the first 3 games of the season for violating the personal conduct policy. Eno Benjamin's on IR. Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud, second overall pick in this year's NFL draft, will start Thursday's preseason opener against the Patriots. Coach DeMeco Ryans.
From C.J. in this game, I just want to see a guy come out and command the huddle, command the offense, get us lined up, get everybody on the same page, and just operate efficiently.
Meantime, another big setback for the Texans' offensive line. Ryans told reporters starting right tackle Titus Howard will be out for a while with a hand injury. While he recovers, veteran swing tackle George Fant will have the opportunity to start at right tackle. Center Scott Quisenberry is on IR with a torn ACL and MCL. Cowboys cut kicker Tristan Vizcaino amid his struggles. Brandon Aubrey currently the only kicker on the 90-man roster, but Dallas could add another kicker soon. Proven kickers like Robbie Gould and Mason Crosby do remain available.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2 on a Monday, Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Glad you were spending your Monday afternoon with us. Hope your work week is off to a good start. If you were listening back a few weeks ago, we had new Baton Rouge Community College head basketball coach Byron Starks on the show. Coach Starks has won a lot of games in South Louisiana in high school and at the junior college level, and he's taken over Baton Rouge Community College job and got another announcement last week that he's got some help on his staff. He's got some help that we may be familiar with on his staff. As a special assistant to the head coach over at Baton Rouge Community College is John Brady, of course, former LSU head basketball coach and member of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Coach Brady joins us now. Coach, thanks for the time. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, Hunt. I appreciate you having me on, and I want to lead off with something straight off the bat.
Okay.
I will still be doing the color with Chris Blair on the LSU Sports Radio Network. I'm glad you said that because there's been some confusion, and my affiliation with Byron Starks, the new coach at Baton Rouge Community College, and then my friendship with Brock Cantrell. When I'm in Baton Rouge and it's not interfering with the LSU, I'm gonna go over to Baton Rouge Community College and help Byron Starks any way I can, from an advisory standpoint, giving him some things that I see, meet with Brock and help them make the program the best it can possibly be, help them recruit a little bit if they think if I can help them in that way. You know, he may want an inbounds play or how to break a press offense, all of those things. I'm going to be there to help them, you know, and help Byron do the best he can with that basketball team.
Do you have like an old notebook of plays? You still just got them up there in the brain? I mean, you hadn't called an inbounds play in a couple of years. You still got access to those?
Hey, look, I call inbounds plays all the time, except you just can't hear me on the air. I punch my button that they have in case I want to say something stupid. I punch a button and you can't hear me. So, no, I've got them in my head. Also, I have all kind of notes on things that I've taken over the years that I have kept. So it'll be refreshing for me to do that, and it'll be fun for me to do that. And if I can help them make that program better, and they feel like I could be an asset there, I'm all about doing it. Because Byron Starks is a outstanding young man and a really good basketball coach. When he was at LSU Eunice, he started that program 4 years ago, and he invited me over to be a keynote speaker when they were putting the program together. And he had the players there and their parents there and some boosters. And I just told him what I thought a good program should be about and how they could help Byron, do a good job in that community with that team. And he won a whole lot of games, and I think he'll do the same at Baton Rouge Community College, and I think it's a better job than the one he had.
Yeah, it's a great place. I went over and watched him play a game earlier this past year. One of my former high school teammates is the head coach at Bossier Parish Community College, and they played, and I went over there and watched. It's a great facility over there, and it's fun to just watch a little bit of basketball. And so I know you're looking very much forward to that. I wanted to ask you a big picture question on college basketball. We got into a little of LSU stuff here. With the transfer portal the way that it is, and the massive roster turnover as well, and the NIL situation, what do you make of the state of college basketball? Because that's different than the state of college baseball and college football. They're all kind of their own entities at this point because of the way that things happen.
Well, I think the first thing with college basketball, the numbers are so, you got 14 players or 15 or whatever the case may be, and sometimes over half your roster changes over. Football is not quite as much. Baseball certainly can add 4 or 5, and that's what they've been able to do. But basketball is a situation where you're having 900 to 1,000 players transfer every year, and I don't know if that's healthy for the program or not, or any program, or college basketball in general. And what I hate to see it come down to is, why do you go to that particular school? Is it because of the coach? Is it because you like the environment? Is it because they have the major you want? Is it because the teammates you like, you feel comfortable with? Or is it just because who can pay you the most money in some kind of NIL situation? I just hope it's not come to that. Now, it may have. If you really like LSU and this other school's offering you $30,000 more, are you going to go there? And if it comes down to a money situation, I don't think that's what college sports was ever intended to be. And people will attack me and say, well, you don't think the player should benefit from his image and likeness? Yes, I do. And I think if they would have done it incrementally and done it in the right way, and the NCAA hadn't been so hard-headed and fought it for so long, they could have let players who are worthy of that by what they've done on the floor. Now I think somebody's getting money now. They've never bounced the ball and never made a basket, and I believe it's in reverse. And I think players should earn the right to sell their image and likeness by how they've performed, not to give it to them on the front end.
Talking about the front end, that's obviously freshmen that have not played. Matthew Mann was on my show a couple months ago. We were talking about some of the new additions, and one of the things that he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, was we're going to be old every year, which means we are going to do some high school recruiting, but we're going to go to the transfer portal, and we're going to add players to our team that are 21 years old instead of 18. How do you feel about that as a former coach?
Well, I think there's a fallacy in that. Just because a player is older at 21 doesn't mean he's better than a player at 18. You look back. The player I had, Brandon Bass was SEC Player of the Year as a freshman, or made the All-Freshman team. Glenn Davis was a pretty good freshman. Torres Bright was a pretty good freshman. I think you can win with freshmen if they're talented enough. And I think just to say, well, I'd rather have a 21-year-old than an 18. I don't buy that. I think you have to have a combination. I kind of like what Matt McMahon has done now. Is he's got some freshmen coming in. He's got returning players that know what to expect because they came back from a year ago, and then he's added 6 or so transfers that he thinks can help their team. I hate to see a situation. I don't think it's good for college basketball. I think it's tough to do as a coach. If you flip your roster every year, if you start over with 8 or 9 players every year, I don't see how you can build any continuity. And I think it robs the fans of seeing players come in your program and get better, and then they identify with that player because they saw him play 3 or 4 years. So I think there's a combination of that. But the old adage that we don't want freshmen, that's not true. There's been a lot of outstanding freshmen that have come through the LSU basketball program and have come through other programs in the Southeastern Conference that have won a bunch of games and done really well. So to just discard a freshman because he's 18 and you like a guy that's 21, I think you're making a mistake there if you don't really study and really evaluate the type of player and person you want on your team.
Obviously, they're actually in the Bahamas right now, and I guess I'll ask you about that first. The fact that every 4 years that a team can travel and go play some basketball, whether it's over in Europe or up in Canada or like the team is right now in the Bahamas, what value is in that and getting some actual game reps in July and August?
Well, particularly if you have a collection of new players, I think it's really valuable to do. He gets 10 days of practice or something along those lines, or 9 days of practice where they can prepare like the season's coming up and have inbounds plays, go over special situations. And if you have new players, just the fact that they're traveling together, they're in competition together, you can define some roles in that particular thing. You can get everybody an opportunity. You want to win the game, but you certainly can give everybody an opportunity to play. So when you do come back for official practice preparing for the first game, you've kind of given everybody an opportunity to show what they can or can't do. And then roles will start to be defined as you get closer to the first game. So I think it's real beneficial for our program, and particularly LSU this year with where they are and what they need to do is show improvement. He's got a collection of players that played last year. He's got some transfers that have proven they could play at other schools at a high major level. And he's got a couple of freshmen that he needs to look at as well. So I think it's a good time for LSU to be in the Bahamas, to get some opportunities to practice, and then also play 3 or 4 games and get that under their belt as well.
When I look at the collection of players that they've brought in, just big picture, it appears to me, without ever having seen them play together at all or practice, and I don't know if you have either, it looks like a little bit more offensive team. Do you expect LSU to be better offensively this year than they were last?
Yeah, I think just from the percentages of shooting the ball and what Carlos Stewart did, what he did and what Jalen Cook has done, those guys have proven they could score at a high major level and make threes. I mean, both of them are shooting around 40%, 40% from the three coming in. Jordan Wright's proven he can play in the league. A 10-point-a-game guy. I'm not saying, that they're draft picks like they're lottery picks, but they certainly have proven they can play at the high major level. And I think offensively they're going to be better. The 7-footer they're bringing in from Nevada, he was an all-league player last year and averaged almost 14 points a game. He shot 36% from the three as a 7-footer. So I think from a guard standpoint, they'll shoot the ball better. They'll like we had our big last year, could step out and shoot it. This 7-footer from Nevada can do the same thing. So I think the floor will be spread a little bit more and maybe can open up some drives to the goal and do some things of that nature to create some help opportunities where you can get some easy baskets.
He'll be the special assistant to the head coach over at Baton Rouge Community College, and he will be on the color with Chris Blair on the LSU Sports Radio Network for basketball. Of course, Final Four coach John Brady. We appreciate some time on this Monday, Coach. We'll talk soon.
Anytime, Hunt. Thank you, man.
He is John Brady, and we look forward to hearing him on the call. He and Chris doing an awesome job. I like everything that Chris has going over there. I love he and Doug on football. Obviously, Doug's done it for so long. Coach Brady is fantastic on basketball, and then the baseball crew with Doug and Buzzy and Chris kind of put all that together, and it just sounds great. I love it, and certainly love Coach Brady during the winter months on the basketball side of things. All right, we'll take a time out. When we come back, we'll meet the freshman, Hunt Palmer Show.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look.
Tuesday's OTB will bring you the latest from both the Saints and Tigers training camp, and Nick Underhill stopping by to give you all the black and gold inside info, and a brand new OTB mailbag. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Moving right along here, hour number 2, Hunt Palmer Show here on this Monday. Appreciate Coach John Brady for jumping aboard, talking a little hoops with us. Got a new role at Baton Rouge Community College, wanted some big picture stuff on the state of college basketball, as well as his thoughts on this LSU team and what it could look like this year. But get back to football here. Let's meet the freshmen.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen, meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
2 more freshmen as we continue to wind through the class of 2023. We'll start today on the defensive side of the ball with safety Ryan Yates, 6 foot 1 inch, 205 pounds from Denton, Texas. I looked at his recruiting profile and it had him closer to 185, so he may be up 20 pounds since they were taking measurables his senior year of high school. He was a 4-star by every service but one. He was an Under Armour All-American. ESPN had him as the number 11 safety in the country, had offers from Notre Dame, Michigan State, Texas Tech, coming out of North Texas. I think for the the safeties on this roster. We talked about this a little bit last week, but the young safeties on this roster, you've got to look at this year as an opportunity to learn from some guys who've played a ton of football. Major Burns has played a lot of football. Greg Brooks has played a ton of football, 4 full years of football. And they're going to be gone. So you've got an opportunity this year to learn, to lift weights, to experience all that college football has to offer from environment perspective and whatnot. And I just don't know that they're going to play much this year. Maybe some special teams, some mop-up duty. They'll be out there in week 2 against Grambling. But you're going to lose Major Burns. You're going to lose Greg Brooks. You're going to lose Andre Sam, who's been around for 6 years in college football. And once they move on, those spots are wide open. And Ryan Yates is a really gifted guy. He's a little bigger. He's not, Sage Ryan was a safety coming out, and Sage Ryan's closer to 5'10". Yates is over 6 feet tall. He's 6'1", got a bigger frame, and you would imagine he could probably get up to 215 pounds or so. And that's a physical safety. So I think this is a talented prospect. I think this is a guy that should be a big factor in his career at LSU. I just don't think that's this year when you're looking at, I think right now at safety, Major Burns and Andre Sam kind of being your starters, with Greg Brooks kind of moving up and down from nickel to dime to safety. They may play some 3 safety looks this year just because they like those guys. And if you don't know who Andre Sam is, I talked about him yet last week, like he's going to play. That's a guy that I have not talked about all summer. It's a guy that I didn't think much about when he transferred in from Marshall. But if you go out there and watch the way they go through drills and watch the way they line up and watch who's running in what reps, Andre Sam's a factor. And so LSU's now really old at safety. Major Burns is really old. Greg Brooks is really old. Andre Sam's really old. And that means for these young kids like Ryan Yates, maybe a developmental year, but that's okay. And so I think that's probably what you're looking at with Ryan Yates. Trey Holly is our second freshman today. 5'7", 192 from Union Parish. He is a running back, and he has a really fun bio and stat page to read off. You're probably aware of this, but Trey Holly is the all-time leading rusher in the history of Louisiana. He broke Nick Brissett's record, and let me tell you this. I watched Nick Brissett play a lot in high school at U-High. My brother-in-law at the time was an assistant there, and we went out there a good bit on Friday nights. And Nick Brissett was ripping off a 40-yard run like every 5 minutes. I mean, they handed him the ball 35 times a game. He ran for 320. He ran all over the state of Louisiana. And Trey Holly broke his record by almost 2,000 yards. Trey Holly ran for 10,523 yards and 146 touchdowns in high school. That's what 5 years can do for you. He had 51 100-yard games. 51. In 2020 and 2021, he was the 3A Offensive Player of the Year. There was a lot of volatility in his evaluation from the recruiting sites. Rivals had him the 4th best running back in the country. 24/7 had him the 42nd best running back in the country. You're looking at 4-star by some, 3-star by others, but he's short and sturdy. Like, he's 5'7". It's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's Chiron Carey. It's like that kind of frame. He's compact, low to the ground, but he's got quicks. He's got moves, and he's got a little speed too. Not going to run over many people, but he's a little tough to shoestring because the center of gravity is so low, and he's tough. And the good news for Trey Holly is he got a boatload of reps in spring football because Armani Goodwin wasn't out there and John Emery wasn't out there. You didn't have Caleb Jackson yet. Trey Bradford wasn't out there. Like, they had basically Noah Cain and Trey Holly. So that's the thing, like with spring football, is you have the ability to adapt to college from a football and just from a life perspective. You're living away from the parents, living on your own, going to class, dealing with your grades, and all the while you don't have to worry about getting ready for Auburn. You just gotta handle your business, and then you go practice. And he got to practice a lot. So he should be kind of ahead of the game at this point coming in. The bad news for Trey Holly is that there are 114 running backs on this team. And he's down the list of, I think, guys that are going to see meaningful reps. So hopefully he got a lot of good work in the spring and is comfortable where he is right now. This is a guy I think that's going to be on the scout team moving forward, because I just think at this point when you look at LSU at running back, Diggs, Emery, Kane, like those guys are going to take the lion's share of these reps. And just physically speaking, Caleb Jackson is a little bit more impressive and more highly rated than Trey Holly. But you're that productive in high school, you've got a spot here. And so hopefully as we move forward, because Emery will be gone and Diggs could be gone and Kane's going to be gone, and we'll see what happens with Bradford, see what happens with Goodwin. But there's going to be a real battle for running back reps next year, and Trey Holly figures to be in the middle of that. It would surprise me if he was a big piece to this team, but he's certainly a guy that I think you could look at on next year's team and be a good piece in the backfield. So that's your look at the freshmen for today. That's Ryan Yates and Trey Holly. Let's kind of set the stage for the week and how that's going to look with Meet the Freshmen. Tomorrow we will chat about Mac Markway, the tight end, as well as Tyree Adams, offensive line, Caleb Jackson and Kylan Jackson, a pair of Jacksons coming up on Wednesday. Whit Weeks, Kamorian Pimpton, DJ Chester, Jackson Howard, and we'll work all the way through to Deshaun Womack and Zalance Hurd coming up next week. But we'll meet two freshmen each and every day here on the Hunt Palmer Show. So today, Ryan Yates and Trey Holly. When we come back, there is some breaking news about a couple phone calls having to do with Stanford and Cal. Where are they headed? We might know soon. That's next.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. Maybe your bathroom and your closet are fantastic. But maybe there's a loved one in your family who's aging, doesn't want to move, but may need some help in the bathroom. David Vaughn and his team at One Bath and Closets can do that. How much more convenient would a walk-in tub be for an aging loved one of yours? David Duvall and his team do them all the time. How about some guardrails in the shower that help an aging person get around? It doesn't have to be a full-scale bathroom renovation or remodel to call David Duvall in One Bath and Closets. It can be something like that. Check out the website, onebathandclosets.com. Get a free consultation. Have David and his team come in and show you what they can do. It doesn't cost a cent. You can see some of the great reviews that folks have left One Bath and Closets on the website, the testimonials. You can see pictures of some of their great work. And he's got a great deal right now for Hunt Palmer Show listeners. If you do call David Duvall and you get a shower, a bathroom renovation or remodel, as well as a closet renovation remodel, if you do both, 10% off to Hunt Palmer Show listeners. 10% off of those combos. Go to onebathandclosets.com and start the process. Onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart...
Join us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City. LSU and the Saints back on the practice field, and Andy Isco joins the show. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So this is fairly new on the news wire here. Haven't had a lot of time to prep my thoughts about it, but I do have some thoughts. Pete Thamel, ESPN, is reporting via Twitter. Are we still allowed to call it Twitter, or do we have to say X? I'm going to go with Twitter for the moment, but he's on that app, whichever you want to call it. Says, sources, in the next 24 hours, there are 2 calls for the ACC to vet and have early exploratory discussions on the potential addition of Cal and Stanford. One is for the ACC athletic directors, the other for the league's presidents and chancellors. It's a fluid landscape for the 4 leftover Pac-12 schools, and there's myriad options being discussed. This is one of them. First of all, can we take a moment to find humor in the Atlantic Coast Conference courting Stanford and California? The Atlantic Coast Conference wants California. These conferences were pretty well named at one point, but now the Big Ten's got 16 or 18 schools. In the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, wants schools bordering the Pacific. This is where we are. This is interesting to me on a number of levels. And again, I'm going to need to, after the show, go dive deeper into this and kind of figure out the inner workings if Cal and Stanford were to go to the ACC. But on the first level I want to discuss, we know why the SEC added Texas A&M and Missouri. They added Texas A&M and Missouri because it grew the footprint and allowed them into more homes in Texas, Missouri, and Kansas to sell TV rights. Yeah, there are teams with better football programs, but if you already have the state occupied, you're not helping your media rights deal grow. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'd rather have Clemson in the league or Florida State in the league than Missouri. But I'm already in all the TV sets in the state of Florida and South Carolina. I need him in Missouri. So that's why those ads make sense. The addition of Texas and Oklahoma, Texas is a bigger brand, and then Oklahoma adds another state. It makes geographic sense. It makes financial sense. Like, I get that. Hate it or love it, I understand it. When the Big Ten adds Oregon and Washington, you do the same thing. You grow your media rights because you get more eyeballs, and you add a new reasonable television slot out west where you can start games late in Eugene, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington. Like, I get it. Oregon's got a huge brand with Nike. Washington was in the playoff, has a national championship in the last 40 years. So I understand those moves. Stanford and Cal is tougher for me. Yeah, I know Stanford's awesome at women's golf and equestrian and darts. Like, I know they're good at all the Olympic sports that aren't on TV that nobody cares about. But it's a small school without a huge fan base. It's got a lot of money. It's not a big fan base. And Cal doesn't care at all about sports. They almost folded their baseball program a couple of years ago. They've been awful at football. Nobody goes to games. So I don't know that I get the additions other than we're the ACC and we're still around. Like, the ACC's got to be in survival mode at this point. And to me, you're trying to make Florida State happy, basically, because they're the angry toddler that's screaming. Like, they're the ones that are making a big fuss, and they're public about the fact that they got to get out of the ACC. The ACC is stagnant, and we got to find a way to get into the Big Ten or the SEC, and we're going to lawyer up. And try, like, they're the ones doing all this. Are they going to sit down and shut up because you got Cal? Are television partners going to be ecstatic that you're bringing in Stanford football? I struggle with that. Yeah, their tennis team rocks. Awesome. Nobody watches that. They're really good at water polo. Awesome. Nobody watches. Their volleyball team's great. So we're talking about money here. This entire thing's about money. All those sports do is lose money. And they're going to lose more money when they've got to fly to Tallahassee and Pittsburgh all the time because they're in the ACC. Like, the flight from San Francisco to, like, Tampa, where they would have to go to play Florida State, is 6 hours. This is not exactly bussing up to Starkville. So I don't, this feels to me, look, this is not done. They're just having a phone call to see if it's worthwhile to explore. But I don't get the appeal. I thought it was reasonable for the Big Ten to take all four of those schools. If you're going to add Stanford and Cal to Oregon and Washington and really create some West Coast flavor, I understand that. I also understand not wanting Stanford and Cal and just taking Oregon and Washington. But for the ACC to take on Stanford and Cal, to me, doesn't do much. I don't see it wowing the media rights partners. And the sports that Stanford's really good at, nobody cares about. The tennis team's now got to fly, like I just talked about, to go play Georgia Tech and Duke across the country. That's a long way. And it doesn't add anything in football because those two schools stink. And nobody cares. So I'm trying. It's one of those deals where something breaks during the show, and you just kind of give your first thought on it, and those are my first thoughts. Like I just don't get it. I can firmly speak to the understanding of all of these conference moves that we've seen recently. I understand why the Big Ten went and got Washington and Oregon. I understand why the SEC went and got Texas and Oklahoma. I understand why the Big 12 went and got BYU and Cincinnati and South Florida, and I get that too. I understand why Colorado jumped ship. I get why the SEC went and got Texas A&M and Missouri. I understand why the Big Ten went and got Rutgers. It didn't work. I read a whole story on The Athletic on that earlier today about the financial disaster that Rutgers is. I understand why they did it. They thought, well, that's New Jersey, New York City. That's a pretty big media market there. We'd like that. So even the ones that don't work or I don't like, I get. I don't get this one. And also, if you're Stanford and Cal, I think you're in two different positions. Stanford has so much money and such a strong presence athletically in those Olympic sports that they can kind of figure it out over there. Cal's a man without a country, I think. I think their country's Stanford. Hey, you're taking them. We want to come, please. But the ACC is locked into this stale, old jail of a media rights deal that people are actively trying to get out of, and they're trying to jump in. I guess being in one is better than not being in one. I'll have to dig a little deeper on this and try to figure out, what the thought is, and it, generally speaking, takes a national columnist to dig some things up and write it, and then I kind of digest that. So I don't exactly have a lot of sources at Cal, you know what I mean? But it seems odd to me. And again, the humor in the Atlantic Coast Conference adding the University of California at Berkeley is priceless. We're going to have to rename some of these. Does the Big Ten stay the Big Ten when it has 20 teams in it? Shorten yourself by half. The SEC is kind of stuck with it. Because even though we've ventured up into the kind of the Midwest, it is contiguous and it is the southeastern portion of the country. But the Atlantic Coast Conference, with those two schools, that would not really work. All right, appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. A lot that we've chatted about LSU football. Big news of the day. There was a fight out at practice that went a little longer than Brian Kelly wanted, and he voiced his displeasure in a big way. Kicked a couple guys out of practice. Offense continues to roll over there at practice. Talk some Saints as well. John Trey Kirkland is joined the black and gold, and they're looking at the potential of adding Kareem Hunt to the mix as well at running back while Alvin Kamara is suspended, and you lost Eno Benjamin to a season-ending Achilles injury earlier this weekend. So a lot of news out of Metairie, a lot of news out of Baton Rouge, and then some national news as well. So been a fun hour and 40 minutes thus far. It'll be a fun close to the show. We play some Take It or Leave It. That's next.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. Been telling you about champions of Louisiana for a year and a half now on the Hunt Palmer Show. If you know of a champion of Louisiana, go to lwcc.com/champions and nominate a champion of Louisiana. Could be a nonprofit, could be a business, could be a person that is a champion of Louisiana. We can tell their story with the help of LWCC. We've been telling you about Corey Barr for better than a month now. Corey is a nationally renowned chef, been on the Food Network, beat Bobby Flay, but he always comes back home. He operates 3 businesses out of Monroe, and being a Louisianian means a lot to Corey. That's why he's a champion of our great state. Corey Barr, a champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13.
Moscona invited to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. LSU back on the practice field, and we'll speak to the players for the first time this fall camp. We'll let you know what they said. Join us Monday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, closing up shop here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're kind of getting back into a routine now with our weekly guests. Going to have Glenn West on LSU tomorrow. Going to have Sharif Ishak with us from Saints Camp tomorrow. We'll get J.D. Piquel back with us on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to chat every single week with Luke Johnson on the Saints. So back into the swing of things as football is cranking up. Very much excited for all of that. All right, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right, first one here. According to relief pitcher Kenyon Middleton, who was just traded from the White Sox to the Yankees, the White Sox have pitchers sleeping in the bullpen and skipping meetings. Bullpen naps. Take it or leave it.
This story was really funny. Jesse Rogers, who covered the Cubs, but he's kind of stretched into a national writer for ESPN, wrote this story. I mean, this Middleton guy, like, he got to New York and just aired the White Sox out. He was like, look, I mean, I like having a beard. I've had a beard for years. I got traded to the Yankees. I went right to the bathroom, shaved my beard off because they don't allow beards. Like, I want to be here. I want to do my part. I want to be part of a team. And the place I just was an absolute disgrace. And that is hilarious to me because I hate the White Sox. Little brother, always complaining about the Cubs. They're a disaster. I pull against them and think this is actually hilarious. As far as the bullpen naps go, like, Mariano Rivera was famous for sleeping during the games, but he knew he was pitching the ninth inning. If you're like a rookie reliever like Middleton's talking about, like, you might have to go in the game in the third inning. You can't be catching Z's while your starting pitcher's out there battling. So I think that's really bad, and I'm going to leave it, and I think it's hilarious.
Tim Anderson was suspended 6 games after getting knocked out on Saturday. Take it or leave it.
This is Make Fun of the White Sox Day. I love this day. If you missed this, which I don't know how you could have missed it, Tim Anderson squared up against Ramirez from the Guardians, and they literally got into a fight in the middle of the field.
Threw the gloves off like it was a hockey game.
Yeah, and then he just got clocked in the chin and knocked unconscious, and then was wobbling off the field, and then he got suspended for 6 games. Tim Anderson has had a massive fall from grace in Chicago. He was playing with swag. The White Sox were building. They had all this talent, and they were going to be really good for this competitive window of 5 or 6 years, and it has absolutely crumbled at their feet. They're shipping guys off for nothing at the trade deadline. Anderson's hit 1 home run the whole year, I think, and then he got knocked out on the field. It is an absolute disgrace on the south side of Chicago this time, and that's a tough go for a Saturday game for Tim Anderson. You go out there, you get punched in the face and knocked out after you initiated the fight, and then you get suspended for 6 games, the biggest suspension. So not only did you lose the fight in a big way, you also got the biggest suspension. Just a total L for Tim Anderson on Saturday.
Bryson DeChambeau fired a 58 at the Greenbrier on Sunday. A 58 on Live is a big deal. Take it or leave it.
Like, y'all know me. You know my feelings on Live. I got to take this.
I'll take it.
58 is good if you go out to Santa Maria and shoot 58. I don't care what tour it's on or what course it's on for you. He shot 58 with a bogey. That's even harder to do. Just an absolutely ridiculous display. I don't like Liv. I don't like Bryson, and I don't really care about this. However, I am willing to be big enough to sit here and go, the man shot a 58. Like, that's ridiculously good. He said, which I thought was kind of interesting, and I kind of want to try it now. Not that I would be even close to this, but I've never done anything like this. He said when he was younger, as an amateur player, when he was like in college, he would go all the way up to the first tee box and see how low he could shoot. And he said that's how he kind of trained himself to shoot really low scores. Like, at that point, if you're a really good player and you're playing from that close, you can drive it on some greens and hit some chips. And it's like you're 10, 11, 12 under. You just kind of get used to putting the pedal to the metal and trying to make birdies. I would like to see what I would shoot from the all the way up tee boxes. I'm sure it wouldn't be that much better, but I'd like to try that one day.
All right, last one here. The Cubs took 2 of 3 from the MLB league leading Braves to pull within a game and a half of first place. The Cubs will win the Central. Take it or leave it.
Oh, man. I'll take it. They're playing better than everybody in the Central right now. The Reds are done. The Reds, They came into Wrigley. That pitching staff was an absolute disgrace. They gave up 20 one day and then 16 the next day. They couldn't get anybody out, and it continued on, and they didn't play well over the weekend, this weekend either. They're toast. They had a good run. They don't have the talent. They didn't add enough at the trade deadline. Their pitching staff's not good enough. They're not going to do it. The Brewers are legit. They got Burns back, or they got Woodruff back yesterday, and he's really good. Mississippi State product, Mr. Woodruff is. They're good, but the Cubs are playing better, and the Cubs' offense right now is as good as anybody in baseball.
The Brewers can't score.
Yeah, I mean, they're not nearly as good as the Cubs, but pitching is pretty important. And Cubs got to get Stroman back, and they got to continue to swing the bats like they are. But the Cubs are really fun to watch right now. They draw walks. They hit a lot of line drives. They're not the most home run hitting team, but they score a ton of runs because they got guys like Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson. And right now, you've just got ridiculous stuff from Candelario. Started 8 of 9 with a walk in 2 games as a Cub. So they're really, really good. So that's I'll take it right now. I'm cautiously optimistic. This is a fun weekend to watch baseball, Braves and Cubs. It was really, really fun to watch. Another baseball nugget that we'll get to before we get out of here. If you missed this yesterday, first career professional homer for both Gavin Dugas and Dylan Cruz. Did so for Fredericksburg in the Nationals organization, so they're playing together in single A. Both guys homered into left center field. Yesterday was really, really cool to see. It's funny to watch those guys as they put on those minor league uniforms, and I would consider LSU's baseball uniforms to be pretty classic looking, kind of clean, kind of minimalistic. And then you get to these minor league uniforms that are like wild, that have these crazy designs. But then they're swinging wooden bats as well. But those two guys both clubbed their first career home run yesterday, which was really, really cool to see. Incidentally, minor league baseball, we have time to do this. The Guardians minor league affiliate, one of them, is having a Tim Anderson night tomorrow. Anyone named Tim gets free tickets to sit on the grass as Tim Anderson was laid out on the grass. They have like this whole like fight night thing that they're putting together. It's a huge promotion about a guy getting knocked out in the big league level, which I thought was quite humorous. Again, any reason to make fun of the White Sox, I'm fully here for it. I know that makes no sense to any of the people that are listening, but
that's got to be like a top 5 fight of all time in the MLB.
Well, they usually,
history,
I mean, you got to put that like. Even though it wasn't like violent, Chan-Ho Park doing the scissor kick was impressive.
Yeah.
Number one is always going to be Nolan Ryan getting Robin Ventura in the headlock. Who was it that threw a bat? I can't remember who that was. And there's another great one on the internet of a minor league game where they hit a guy's right-handed hitter and he gets hit on the like bicep. He immediately turns and kicks the catcher in the face before he goes out and charges the mound on the pitcher. That's also a pretty solid one. But yeah, as far as like blows connecting, I can't think of one that, and it wasn't like the most beautiful punch you've ever seen, but he just got him right in the right spot, right in the jaw, and knocked him down. The White Sox are just a disaster. All right, that'll do it here for a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Open things up talking about Kareem Hunt and John Trey Kirkland as it relates to the New Orleans Saints. Preston Guy was with us in hour number 1 talking some LSU football. Preston covers LSU forever at Tiger Bait. I talked about the LSU offense at 1:30 because it just feels like through a week of camp, the offense is really cooking right now. And I think there's reason to believe that that's a real thing. Like they're going to be really good on offense. And then we talked a little recruiting with the commitment of Jelani Watkins at 1:45. Looked forward to later this week when Colin Simmons and Caden Durham announced their decisions later this week in Duncanville. Hopefully that's really good news for the Tigers. John Brady with us in hour number 2 talking some basketball. We did some Meet the Freshmen with Ryan Yates and Trey Holly. And then the latest rumors about realignment. Stanford and Cal headed to the ACC. They're looking into it. So that was what we talked about at 2:30 before Take It or Leave It. If you missed any of our show today, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your audio, you can find all of our stuff. You can also find us on YouTube, full shows archived, as well as LSU and Saints content. Hunt on LSU, Hunt on Saints, 2 different channels. Subscribe to them, get those 10-minute videos rolling right to you. Beck does an awesome job of taking care of that each and every day. That's it for us today. Matt Moscona is about to drive you home on After Further Review. We'll see you tomorrow talking a lot more football. Same time, same place. It's Hunt Palmer Show.